I sensed a stirring within me, a pull toward not just watching but perhaps joining in, feeling that surge of passion firsthand. Before we start diving into the story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe. It only takes a second, but it will help the channel grow. Thank you for your interest in our channel. In the soft glow of a crisp Atlanta morning, I settled into my favorite corner of a quaint downtown cafe, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the gentle hum of early chatter. As I sipped my latte, my eyes wandered through the expansive display window, capturing fleeting snapshots of city life. Amid the rhythmic pulse of the urban landscape, a particular scene seized my attention. A couple walking hand in hand, their interaction an unspoken conversation of affection and shared dreams. There was something strikingly genuine about the way they moved, a subtle harmony that resonated deep within me. Their smiles, exchanged in quiet glances and whispered words, carried an ease and warmth that belied the complexity of everyday struggles. For a moment, I felt transported back to a time when the spark of new love burned brighter than routine, when every shared secret and stolen touch promised endless possibilities. That glimpse evoked in me a bittersweet blend of nostalgia and a yearning for change, stirring memories of a life less ordinary. Sitting there, I began to question the monotony of my own existence. My mind drifted to Ethan, my constant companion whose presence had become so familiar that the thrill of discovery had faded into the background of our daily lives. The carefree intimacy I observed in the couple ignited a quiet restlessness within me, a desire to break free from the confines of habitual comfort and embrace a world filled with unpredictable beauty. As the morning light danced across the polished window, I couldn't help but wonder if there was a path leading away from my well-worn routines, a secret door to a life pulsating with raw, uncharted emotion. That single, unguarded moment of observation planted a seed of transformation, one that promised not just to stir my heart, but to shatter the boundaries of all that I thought was possible. Later that day, as the morning rush subsided, I found myself alone with my thoughts in a small, dimly lit study. The early cafe reverie lingered in my mind, casting shadows over my once certain convictions. I sat at a worn oak desk, the pages of an old journal open before me, and began a silent conversation with the very essence of my heart. In these quiet moments, the contrast between the vibrant intimacy I had witnessed earlier and the life I'd settled into with Ethan grew impossibly stark. Ethan, my steady and dependable partner, had long become the comfort zone, a sanctuary of predictability that, despite its stability, was slowly leaching away the spark of wonder from our days. I remembered the early days of our courtship, where every conversation was laced with anticipation and each shared secret felt like an uncharted adventure. But as time marched on, familiarity bred a quiet complacency, and our shared routines transformed into an unyielding barrier that muffled the possibility of rediscovery. My inner dialogue was relentless. I questioned whether the safe harbor of our marriage was truly fulfilling my deeper yearnings. The flash of passion I had glimpsed in that bustling window had awakened something dormant inside me, a reminder that life could be more than a series of measured steps along a predictable path. It wasn't that I despised Ethan. Rather, I felt a subtle, persistent ache for the unknown, a longing to explore the myriad shades of intimacy that lay hidden beyond the confines of our routine. The thought of embracing change, of allowing vulnerability to disrupt the familiar, stirred both excitement and trepidation. I wondered if our relationship could be reborn through daring experiments in connection, if by stepping outside the predictable script we had written, we might reignite the flame that once burned so fiercely between us. In that solitary space, with the soft glow of a desk lamp illuminating my furrowed brow, the quiet reckoning began. I realized that to truly live, one must sometimes risk the known for the promise of a more vibrant, unpredictable future, a future where the mundane is challenged by the raw, unfiltered pulse of new emotion. That evening, as the city shifted into a softer nocturnal rhythm, I met Olivia at a snug downtown bar alive with the soulful strains of live jazz. The venue exuded an effortless charm, warm amber lights, rustic wooden tables, and an air of relaxed intimacy that seemed to invite unburdened conversations. Olivia, with her candid eyes and an aura of delicate vulnerability, greeted me with an embrace that spoke of years of shared secrets and unspoken understanding. Seated in a secluded corner, away from the mainstream chatter, our conversation quickly transcended the ordinary. With the clink of wine glasses punctuating our words, Olivia confided in me about the lingering scars of her past romances. She recounted how each failed relationship had left behind invisible wounds, a bittersweet mix of hope and regret that colored her everyday life. Her voice, at times hushed and tremulous, conveyed both the pain of bygone loves and the resilience it took to face another day. I listened intently, feeling as though her words unlocked a chamber of my own concealed sorrows. In her candid reflections, I saw the mirror of my own emotional landscape, a quiet world where unmet desires and silent yearnings lay hidden beneath layers of routine and familiarity. We spoke of how the weight of unhealed wounds could drain life's vibrancy, yet also how those very experiences had sculpted us into who we were today. The conversation, raw and unfiltered, opened a pathway between us, a bridge built on mutual recognition of life's inherent fragility. I shared my discontent, the gnawing emptiness that had crept into my marriage with Ethan, and the overwhelming sense that something vital was missing. Olivia's empathetic gaze never wavered. Instead, it deepened, conveying an unspoken promise that our pain need not be a solitary burden. As the night deepened and the jazz band's melodies softened into a lullaby of distant memories, our exchange evolved into an exploration of possibility. In that intimate moment, we found solace not just in our shared wounds, but in the hope that acknowledging them could spark a transformation. With every word, every shared sigh, the walls of isolation crumbled further, leaving behind the fragile yet hopeful blueprint of a future where vulnerability might just pave the way for a new beginning. In the days following our intimate conversation, the thought of shattering the familiar and venturing into uncharted territory grew louder with each passing moment. Within the quiet solitude of my suburban home, I wrestled with a daring idea, one that promised to bridge the gap between complacency and the vibrant passion I so desperately craved. It was time to propose an experiment, one that would invite both risk and the possibility of renewal. One crisp afternoon, while sharing a soothing cup of herbal tea with Olivia in the soft light of my living room, I broached the subject with a trembling mix of hope and determination. I explained that our recent confessions, the shared echoes of loneliness and desire, had ignited a spark too potent to ignore. I proposed that we combine our energies to revive the flickering flame that had long been obscured by the mundane. The plan was simple, yet revolutionary: to host an evening at my suburban mansion, transforming the familiar confines of my home into a stage for rediscovery and raw, unfiltered emotion. I painted a vivid picture for Olivia, a night draped in the gentle glow of ambient lighting, punctuated by a carefully chosen jazz playlist that whispered promises of newfound intimacy. Every detail was meticulously envisioned to create an atmosphere where the usual boundaries of our relationships might dissolve, allowing us to explore hidden depths of connection. I made it clear that this experiment was not a rebellion against the past or a rejection of the love I shared with Ethan, but rather an attempt to reawaken the passion that had grown dormant over time. Olivia listened intently, her eyes reflecting a mix of surprise and intrigue. In that charged silence, I saw the possibility of change flickering within her, a recognition that the familiar might be transformed into something extraordinary. Even Ethan, though reserved by nature, seemed to sense the potential of this bold venture, his cautious acceptance hinting at a shared desire to escape the confines of routine. That moment, with its blend of apprehension and anticipation, marked the threshold of a new chapter, The proposal hung in the air like an invitation to rediscover life's lost vibrancy, a call to embrace uncertainty and, in doing so, uncover the hidden truths of our hearts. In the quiet solitude of the following day, the weight of the impending evening began to settle over me like a soft, determined fog. Every detail of my home transformed into a canvas for change, a blank page on which new chapters of passion and rediscovery were about to be written. I immersed myself in the deliberate art of preparation, each step a silent promise of a night that could redefine our familiar boundaries. I started by selecting a playlist that echoed with the subtle sophistication of jazz, each mellow note weaving its way into the fabric of the atmosphere. The soft strains of a saxophone and the gentle brush of drums were destined to underscore our conversations and silent exchanges later that night. As the playlist took shape, it felt as though I was curating not just music, but the very heartbeat of an experience that demanded both intimacy and vulnerability. The transformation of my living room was meticulous. I arranged the furniture to create a fluid, inviting space, one that encouraged both closeness and moments of reflective solitude. Soft, diffused lighting was installed to replace the harsh glare of everyday illumination, its gentle glow casting delicate shadows that hinted at hidden depths within our souls. Each carefully placed candle, flickering quietly in the corners of the room, was a small beacon of hope, guiding us away from the mundane toward the possibility of genuine transformation. As I moved through my home, adjusting little details with an almost reverent precision, I felt an undercurrent of anticipation mingling with the usual calm. Every object seemed to echo the promise of the evening, from the subtly patterned cushions that invited relaxation to the carefully arranged table set for drinks and soft conversation. There was no rush, only a serene determination to craft an environment where authenticity could flourish, where the layers of routine might finally be peeled away to reveal raw, unguarded truth. In the quiet moments between preparations, doubts occasionally whispered at the edges of my thoughts. Yet, with every adjustment I made, those uncertainties softened, replaced by a resolute belief that change, though sometimes daunting, was essential. I envisioned Ethan and Olivia stepping into this reimagined space, their tentative smiles and curious glances sparking a cascade of new emotions. Tonight, the home I knew so well would serve as a transformative stage, setting the scene for revelations that could alter the course of our lives forever. That evening, as twilight surrendered to the velvet embrace of night, the doorbell's gentle chime signaled the arrival of a transformative moment. The reimagined living room, with its ambient glow and carefully orchestrated silence, was alive with a promise of change. Ethan entered first, his eyes reflecting a mixture of quiet apprehension and an unspoken readiness to embrace what lay ahead. Soon after, Olivia arrived, her presence delicate yet resolute, a beacon of vulnerability dressed in soft hues. The space itself seemed to breathe, each candle's flicker and every tender note from the jazz playlist weaving together a tapestry of anticipation. Ethan's measured steps brought him to the center of the room where, with a hesitant smile, he acknowledged Olivia's arrival. Their first words were soft, almost inaudible, yet laden with the weight of unspoken understanding. The air was thick with an electric charge, a silent invitation to explore the realms of intimacy that had long been buried under everyday predictability. I watched, a silent observer caught between my longing and the unfolding reality. As Ethan and Olivia began their delicate dance of rediscovery, their interactions grew bolder. A hesitant brush of fingertips turned into a series of gentle caresses, each touch resonating with memories of past desires and the thrill of a newly discovered connection. Their eyes locked in a mutual exchange of unfiltered emotion, a language without words, where every glance and subtle smile expressed the courage to venture beyond familiar territories. In that charged atmosphere, time itself seemed to stretch, allowing every second to linger as if it were an eternity. The living room, transformed by my own careful preparations, had become a sanctuary where guarded hearts could finally dare to be free. As the evening deepened, I sensed a stirring within me. A pull toward not just watching, but perhaps joining in, feeling that surge of passion firsthand. The boundaries that once confined us began to blur, and in that delicate balance between observer and participant, a new possibility quietly emerged. As the evening matured, the charged air grew denser with the mingling of hesitant affection and uncharted passion. In the soft shadows of our living room, the energy that had been simmering between Ethan and Olivia evolved into a crescendo of shared intimacy. Their connection, once tentative, blossomed into a confident exploration that transcended the boundaries of conventional desire. I found myself drawn in, not merely as a silent witness, but as a participant in the slow, deliberate unspooling of our long-held inhibitions. In that luminous moment, a sudden realization gripped me. The boundaries of observation were dissolving, replaced by a burning urge to bridge the gap between feeling and living. I hesitated only for a breath, then stepped forward. The subtle sounds of jazz, mingled with whispered confessions and the soft rustling of fabric, created a cocoon of vulnerability where each heartbeat resonated with the possibility of renewal. Ethan's eyes met mine with an unexpected warmth, a quiet invitation to share in the experience, while Olivia's gentle smile affirmed the unspoken promise of liberation. Our conversation, once confined to the realm of cautious introspection, now erupted into a spontaneous dialogue of touch and glance. I felt the weight of suppressed desires lift as we embraced the moment with an honesty that left no room for past regrets. Every touch, every shared glance was a powerful defiance against the monotony of routine, a testament to our willingness to reforge the contours of our lives with raw, unfiltered emotion. In that unfolding tapestry of connection, time lost its rigid structure. The world outside became a distant memory, replaced by the immediate, pulsating reality of our shared vulnerability. As I allowed myself to be enveloped by this cascade of emotions, I understood that the experiment was not merely a search for a fleeting thrill, but a courageous leap into the heart of our true selves. The lines between roles blurred. We were no longer defined by the predictable narratives of our past, but by the bold, uncharted promise of a renewed future. As the first hints of dawn crept over the horizon, the once electric night softened into a tender, introspective silence. In the cool light of early morning, I found myself alone on the veranda, a gentle reminder of the night's transformative events echoing in every quiet breath. The living room, now steeped in memories of passion and vulnerability, sat behind me as a silent witness to our experiment, a delicate interlude where old boundaries dissolved and new truths emerged. The lingering warmth of our shared intimacy still vibrated in the air, its resonance mingling with the chill of a new day. Ethan and Olivia had receded into quiet corners of our home, each enveloped in their own reflective solitude. I, too, felt the aftershocks of our collective bravery, a blend of tender fulfillment and the raw, unfiltered uncertainty of what lay ahead. The experiment, audacious and spontaneous, had not only unlatched forgotten doors of desire, but had also laid bare the intricate tapestry of our emotions. In that serene moment, I allowed myself to truly absorb the consequences of our choices. There was no immediate clarity, only the lingering echo of hearts daring to live beyond the predictable. I contemplated the myriad ways our lives had shifted, the fragile hope that rekindled a spark within Ethan's eyes, Olivia's quiet smile hinting at newfound strength, and my own transformed understanding of love and connection. Each of us had embarked on a journey of self-reclamation, a journey that, despite its inherent risks, promised a future where authenticity triumphed over complacency. As the sun rose higher, dispelling the night's shadows, I sensed that this was not an ending, but a profound beginning. In the interplay of light and dark, I discovered that renewal often lies in the courage to step beyond what is known. With every soft ray of morning, I embraced the possibility of a life enriched by vulnerability, passion, and a deep, unyielding commitment to truly feeling. Our experiment had awakened something elemental within us, a call to pursue genuine connection, no matter how unpredictable the path. In the days that followed our daring experiment, the aftershocks of that transformative night wove themselves into the fabric of our daily existence, altering the contours of our relationships in unexpected ways. The house, once a stage for unbridled passion and introspection, now resonated with a cautious calm, a silence that was as much a promise of new beginnings as it was a reminder of the delicate balance we had dared to upset. Ethan, ever the pragmatist, began to navigate his inner landscape with a renewed sense of curiosity. In quiet moments before dawn, he would retreat into the study, poring over old photographs and mementos of a time when love was spontaneous and every gesture spoke of possibility. His gaze, once clouded by routine, now shimmered with hints of longing, a longing not solely for the past, but for the future that might yet be rewritten. He started taking small steps toward breaking his habitual patterns, inviting conversations that challenged his previously held assumptions about loyalty and fulfillment. Olivia, too, found herself at a crossroads. The emotional intimacy of that unforgettable evening had unearthed hidden reservoirs of strength within her, emboldening her to pursue a life free from the shadows of past disappointments. Her laughter, once tempered by the weight of unhealed wounds, began to ring out with a quiet defiance. With each new day, she embraced the unpredictable nature of change, determined to transform her scars into symbols of resilience and hope.